Thank you for coming to Scott's Dojo of Kung Fu Movies. That is my very awkward way of saying that, hey, I'm here at the movie drive-in tonight, and I'm going to be watching two Kung Fu-related movies, one being the great Kung Fu Panda with Jack Black in it, and the other one, we are reaching far into that nostalgic barrel to pull out Karate Kid with Macchio. I remember watching this when I think it was in junior high, and I saw it at the local second-run theater, and it was packed, and it was just so fun to watch that movie. And so I'm going to go ahead and repeat that, hopefully repeat that experience. But in just a few seconds, guys, I'm going to be right back to let you know what I think about Kung Fu Panda. All right, see you in just a few seconds. Bye. Hey guys, I just got done watching Kung Fu Panda. This is my second time through. I remember seeing Kung Fu Panda at this very particular drive-in right here. I remember watching it, and I remember thinking to myself it was okay. My second time through, I'm watching it, and I'm like, you know what? It's better than okay. It's not a bad movie. It's actually pretty darn entertaining. We have Jack Black playing the lead role in this movie as the panda. The premise of this movie is we have a panda that has grown up knowing noodles. That's his trade, is he sells noodles with his father, and he works in a restaurant where he sells noodles, and he's pretty darn good at it. But he has aspirations to be something bigger and more important in his environment, in his society, and so he worships this group of five, the Warriors Five or the Great Five or something like that, and they have a legend within this town where these big bad guy is coming back, and it's going to be defeated by this dragon warrior. And so they're holding auditions for this dragon warrior, being chosen by the elder of this of the temple, of the Kung Fu temple. And Jack Black's panda character accidentally stumbles into it and is chosen to be this dragon warrior. And it's just his trials and tribulations and his training to become that dragon warrior, and eventually leading to the climax of the movie where he fights the big baddie. And of course, this movie, I'm not sure when it came out, but it's been quite a few years, and there's no spoiler that he does win. Here's the really delight of this movie, is that not only does it have really cool action sequences to it, where it does remain faithful to its kung fu premise. It is really cool, slick kung fu action while being very cartoony on top of that. It is a comedy, and that's the only thing I would kind of have to criticize about this movie, is throughout this movie being a comedy, there's really only a few really good laughs throughout the whole movie, and the rest of it was it made me smile and chuckle, but it didn't make me laugh out loud. So but it had a really good message. The message was that unfortunately the panda is a slightly overweight gentleman, and because of that, he is taken less seriously in the Dragon Warrior role. But eventually, because of the elder of the tribe, the city, the town, his influence convinces the master to train him. And that message being that no matter who you are, no matter what obstacles are in your way, you can go ahead and overcome it to become the person that you want to be. And that is a great message, and it's executed quite well in this movie. I really enjoyed that. Again, the only thing I had wrong with this movie was that it was not particularly all that funny when it was supposed to be. I enjoyed it. It was a very, very lighthearted movie, and I really got into it this time because of the level of laughs that it was missing in this movie. I'm gonna have to go ahead and deduct a couple points for that, but it is a solid 95 for me. I really did enjoy this movie. So there you go. Kung Fu Panda is a great hit, and no wonder it spawned quite a few sequels. I think it was like 3 sequels and even a television show. It's because of the solid base that they had for that franchise. This movie was really good. I'm going to go ahead and move on. I'm excited about this, guys. I haven't seen this movie, and of course, I saw it in the theater, but then I saw it, of course, on AMC or whatever channel that I was watching TNT on the weekends. But I haven't seen it in years, and I haven't sat down and seriously watched it in years. So I'm excited to go ahead and sit down and watch this movie, and then I'm going to come back and give you a very nostalgic review on it. But spoiler alert, I did like it back then, and I'm probably going to like it now. So in just a few seconds, I'll let you know what I think about Karate Kid. All right, see you. Bye. All right, hey guys, I just got done watching the movie. Karate Kid. I'm not really sure the date that it came out. I'm going to put it right over there. But it was definitely in the early 80s. And this movie, somehow, it was everything wrong with the 80s and somehow everything right about the 80s. Here's the things that really struck me odd is, first off, what a strange little movie. It's all about karate. Really, was there like that big of a movement in the United States in the early 80s for karate? Not only that, but there was no mention of baseball or football at this high school he was going to. They were all playing soccer. Another 80s thing. During the 80s, there's a really big push to bring soccer to the United States, and obviously it didn't really pan out for us. We went back to screw that soccer crap when we went back to our baseball and our football. But this movie was quintessentially 80s. It was 80s all the way down to the we're having fun montage, or the I'm learning karate montage. There were montages throughout this whole movie. There's just silliness all the way throughout this movie. The relationship portion of this movie, him and Elizabeth Shue, which very young Elizabeth Shue, and she is still stunning as she is to this day. She was a great addition to this movie. I really enjoyed her character. But the thing that makes this movie work, it's not the karate. It's not the relationship. It's the relationship between Mr. Miyagi and Danielson, Ralph Macchio. That it was quintessential that we had to have a really engaging relationship that we could invest ourselves in and start loving that relationship. And this movie, for its own sake, excelled at that. It really worked well doing just that, all the way down to where Mr. Miyagi jumps the fence to come to the defense of his newly found friend Danielson, or when Danielson starts putting the puzzle pieces together and figuring out who Mr. Miyagi is, when he walks into Mr. Miyagi in a drunken bout and finds out that he had been married, he had a kid. He lost both of those kids in a Japanese internment camp. And Mr. Miyagi has been living out a very modest life since then. And that relationship right there just makes this movie so worthwhile. It's so heartrending to watch that friendship blossom and grow, and even to the fact where he like 3/4 of the way through, he finally turns to Mr. Miyagi on his birthday and says that he is his best friend. And as audience members, we completely 100% believe in it. This movie should not be as good as it is, but it is. It's got all the 80s trappings. Like I said, the stupid, goofy montages, the stupid, goofy sports references, and just... the flimsy romantic relationship that we were given, the two-dimensional the two-dimensional antagonists that we were given. These guys never had that much of a backstory. We never understood their motivation, why they were just kind of turds. They were such assholes to this guy that they had no reason to be assholes to him. But so like this movie really is kind of very vague in a lot of situations. But the one thing it does excel at is that relationship with Mr. Miyagi and Danielson, and it's so good that when he finally, does that crane move to win the tournament, we forget everything else, and we just revel in that moment and understand the love that they felt for each other. And this movie was pure and simple. It was a great hit back when it first came out in probably the early, 84, I believe. And it continues to be now. It's still a great movie, and I would highly recommend still watching it to this day. Yes, it is very dated, but at the same time, even watching it now, I had a hard time keeping myself from getting involved emotionally with this story. I enjoyed it quite a bit. So I don't know, man. Even with its flaws, even with the 80s trappings that it had, I was really inclined to give it an 85 because it is kind of cheesy in that way. But honestly, like I said, in its strengths, it does work as a movie. So I'm going to give it another 95. It's not a perfect movie by any means, but it definitely gets you going. It gets your blood going and gets you involved in the story. And for that matter, a 95, I think, is very, very earned. So there you go, guys. A really good time at the drive-in tonight. I went ahead and I saw Kung Fu Panda, which was a very, very slick cartoon. It never forgot that it was a cartoon, but it also gave us some very, very entertaining fight scenes. And it just lacked a little humor. So therefore, I gave it a 95, and we went ahead and watched Karate Kid, which again, too much 80s involved in that. There were some weird choices, and for all the satellite relationships around this, these two main characters were so incredibly vague that it shouldn't have worked, but it did because the strength of that main relationship, which was between Mr. Miyagi and Danielson, another 95, and that's it, guys. I'm out of here. I don't know if I'm going to do this or not, but I kind of plan on coming back tomorrow. They are showing on the second screen. They're showing Monty Python's Holy Grail and also The Big Lebowski. And I've seen these movies to the point where I can recite the lines of them. But I don't know. I haven't decided yet. But you may see me tomorrow. And if not, I just want to wish everybody peace. Montanay. I'll see you guys later, and goodbye.